Alright guys, what's up? It's Pesky, and I'm making this video because so many of you have been asking me lately to make some kind of like composite of all of my tattoos, and so I guess everyone's like super interested in them, and this is my in-depth take on it, so cool. So I guess I'll start with my arm. Right now it's pretty close to being complete. I still need to get filler for it, but right now I guess I'll start at the top and work down. So the infamous Powerpuff Girls tattoo that I have, it wasn't colored in for a very long time, and this tattoo is symbolic just because I was a huge fan of the show growing up, and I think that all three girls together make like a pretty good example of what it takes to be a strong woman, and you know, brains, like a sweetheart, charming tendency, and like a naivety that Bubbles has, and of course like the toughness that Buttercup shows. So that's what it means to me. Podolly is a character. Podolly is a character that is drawn by an artist named Maury Chack, who's also responsible for Gloomy Bear, which is not fucking Pedo Bear, because everyone seems to think that it would be really cute to tell me that I have Pedo Bear tattooed on me. I don't, because I don't support, you know, people who are pedophiles. That would be weird. In any event, so these two characters are one of many that are in Maury Chack's universe. And as far as like Gloomy Bear goes, I got him. He was the second tattoo that I got, and the first on my arm. And he represents to me the idea that you can't really get away from your true nature, because he's always beating up pity, and also the idea that pity is a very useless emotion. It doesn't really do anything for anyone. So then, as far as Podolly is concerned, it's a sheep, or she, I guess I should say. She is a sheep in wolf's clothing, which is a pretty interesting take on a wolf in sheep's clothing. And I think she symbolizes to me, at least, that you shouldn't necessarily try to be something that you're not, but bravery and the attempt to go out into the world as something more fierce than you are, I think means a lot more than, you know, shying away from occurrences and not living life, having like meaningful experiences because you're too afraid to. And also just, you know, background in her story, she like was really interested in doing things that are not typical, you know, of sheep. Obviously, she wants to get away from her little village because she's picked on, and I relate to that a lot. So next I have Betty Boop. Huge fan of her growing up, which I have my mom to thank for that. So I decided to get her in my ditch because, I mean, it just looks cool. I love her. And she's one of the many influences I have that, you know, got me involved in burlesque and pinup of any kind. Sailor Moon, the infamous Sailor Moon portrait. Much more, I guess, along the same vein of why I got the Powerpuff Girls. Huge fan of the series. More so the American TV show, more so than anything to do with the Japanese one. I know a lot of people are going to be really pissed off about that, but, you know, I was into the Americanized version, sue me. And I think I just, like, identified with Serena just because getting thrust into a lot of things and, you know, still wanting to be a huge baby and not wanting to be a, sorry, I'm a little sick right now, not wanting to be the leader, but still having those leadership qualities that, you know, make it really possible for you to be someone in control of situations, and also just being able to find like an inner strength that you never thought you would have had if you hadn't pushed yourself. So, you know, obviously a lot of good things going on there. I have a ring pop tattooed on my wrist, because they're one of my favorite candies ever, and also just because the mystery flavor is probably like one of the cooler things that I think people have done with candy, so that was cool. The bigger shapes, that you'll see dotting my arm are the, I guess I can't say logos, but the symbols for the inner scouts in Sailor Moon. So this is Sailor Mercury. She's technically my favorite scout. And on my elbow, I have the logo for the band Chiodos, because they're my favorite. I've seen them probably like 6 times at this point, and if everyone remembers, I just put up a really like gross picture of me the other day that had this guy, which is a drumhead from Derek, who's the drummer in Chiodos. So yeah, I caught that after their show. Someone threw it. I'm not sure if it was Derek or not, but someone threw it and I caught it, and it's now just sitting on the side of my room. So that's cool. Yeah, but like I said, like Chiodos actually has, Craig Owen specifically has inspired me a lot of ways as an author. Being that I used to be a songwriter and I was in a band for a little while in high school. There's nowhere you can hear this music. Please don't ask anything about it. We weren't necessarily the most talented garage band in the world, but it was a lot of fun. So yeah, and just I really love the imagery that they've always like been able to craft. Their instrumental ability just blows my mind with every album. It's really rare that you have a band that starts off so naturally with ability to create music that's just so new, very experimental in their genre, but also very shows their capabilities as musicians. They have a very distinctive harmonic quality to them, and definitely like think you should check them out. Their older stuff is probably the best place to start because I mean, why would you want to start with the new and then work your way back? Even though Devil is a pretty decent album, so promotion. But yeah, I don't know. Really just love Chiodos. And then I have Josephine Baker's portrait on me as well. A lot of people ask me if this is me when they see me walking down the street or sitting on the subway, and it's the most annoying question I've probably ever been asked in regards to any of my tattoos. But in the same vein as like Betty Boop, I have always been really into burlesque, and Josephine Baker is the most prominent African-American burlesque dancer that has ever been alive. And she's just also has a really interesting history in general as a person and a woman. So if you don't know anything about her, I definitely like implore you to please look up her history. She's amazing. She was involved in helping the French during World War II. Highly multifaceted, very talented woman. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I think I have a very evil, bloody Gur from Invader Zim on the back of my arm. And this started out kind of as a joke between me and a couple of friends. We were going to get bro tats, and I ended up being the only one that actually followed through on that. So, but I really like enjoy Gur as a character, and I think that a lot of times, like, not kidding about the sick thing, allergies are really fucking with me, it's terrible. But yeah, Gur is just like really interesting, and I think in a lot of ways the comedic relief in the show revolves around him, and I don't know, just a nice reminder to be naive, but also like with him being evil, sometimes that things can change, and you shouldn't always just assume that because an outward appearance shows something is being nice or docile all the time, that it can't be a little bit edgier and terrifying, I guess you could say. Because after all, Gur is a robot. He's supposed to be this defensive robot, and even though he's full of a bunch of bullshit, which is why he's so weird, it's still just the fact that he can, you know, go into defense mode and wreak a little bit of havoc, even though it's more funny than anything else. So, yeah. And then, let's see what else. I think, except for the script on this arm, that's everything. Oh no! I forgot Courage. So, just another show that I was really into growing up. Courage the Cowardly Dog. I think a lot of times, like, I can relate to Courage because I'm, like, a huge scaredy cat. And, even though I'll be the first to, like, jump in and be, like, I guess heroic in some cases, half the time I have no idea what I'm doing and am scared shitless. But it's just the idea that you want to help those that you care about, and, I mean, help anyone in general if you can, just because, not even if it's the right thing to do, but just because you just have something inside you that says you should do this. So I relate to that a lot. And, yeah, so the script on my inner arms, always and never, these are quotes from Frank Miller's graphic novel series Sin City, but they're from the movie. And I got them because I really, really loved Gail and Dwight's love story, and the idea that you're in love with someone that you can't ever actually be with because of X amount of circumstances, just because I'm a hopeless romantic, and I thought that was really cool. And also because it's portrayed really well in the film. Really, really good film. I definitely think you should see it if you haven't. Let's see. A lot of people can't always tell what the script says. It's, is not living, wanting to be different. It's a quote from my favorite philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche. One of his earlier, I guess, philosophical works. And I guess when I first got into philosophy, he was one of the philosophers that kind of just stuck out to me because he had so many things that towards the end of his career and writings as a philosopher were just contradicted from his earlier things, but still, like, they make you think. And I think a talented or decent philosopher is making observations on society and the world that goes beyond just human nature or, you know, emotions that everyone feels. It's intensely related to their views on society and, like, in some cases even, like, their experiences, and how that's, like, shaped their worldview. And a lot of times, like, people look at Nietzsche as being, like, this misogynist, like, this shithead, but I don't know, I think I just have something for, like, early 19th century, like, or 18th century, rather, men who just, like, are really, really introspective and creative and verbose in some cases. 'Cause a lot of Nietzsche's writing is very dense. Thus Spoke Zarathustra is probably the worst book you will ever try to read if you were ever so inclined to pick it up, but really interesting. So I don't know, I just take this with me as a token of the idea that people are always trying to cater to different parts of society and not themselves. And so basically what I took this quote to mean is that, you know, being alive, you know, everyone's a unique, different human being, so you're already different. The idea that you're trying to make yourself more different kind of seems ridiculous in some cases, but we do it anyway, and it makes you think about the reasons behind why people do things. Like, body modifications are probably, like, a good example of this. So yeah. Then, let's see, I have this side piece, which was a memorial piece that I got. It was drawn by a friend of mine who passed away last year. It was a suicide, and it really hit me because she was just so young. My friend's name was Jo, and this piece was actually something that I saw her draw in class, and it was the reason our friendship happened. I saw it and I was just like, that's really cool and detailed and interesting, and I need to have that on my body. And at the time, like, she probably thought I was such a fucking crazy person, but we started talking, and we met in a writing class, so we were talking initially about our writing and different styles of writing, but it just branched out into something different, and yeah, I don't know, I kept the artwork and was able to get it tattooed on me last year, so it kind of brought our friendship full circle a little bit, just because it had been a year since I'd been friends with her, and since she passed away, I was able to get the tattoo, like, literally like that, almost on the anniversary of us being friends for a year, so it was just something that I didn't feel like I had to, but I really wanted to, and so it has a lot of meaning for me, and I think it's still, like, probably one of the best pieces that I have tattooed on me, and I don't know, it definitely has the most meaning of all of them. Oh, so brass knuckles. These are from Gym Class Hero song. The lyric is, "She knocks me out with the brass knuckle tats on her hips." Someone actually, like, wrote to me on Tumblr about that, and yes, you're right. But yeah, I've been a huge fan of Gym Class Heroes. I've actually met the band numerous times and seen Travis, like, I don't even know how many times, just wandering around either in Philadelphia or New York, and it's, like, really, really funny to see me turn into a huge fucking crazy fangirl and actually, like, freak out. I know the last time I saw him was at Comic-Con, and I was just like, as if I didn't know he was going to be there, because he nerds out pretty hard, as you can all see. But I got these. These were my very first tattoos on my 18th birthday. And I got them because it was kind of like a statement against all the tattoos that a lot of girls had been getting around the time. So this was, what, 2009? Where the end of, I guess, like, the scene era was. And brass knuckles have always been, like, a symbol of strength and, like, you know, I guess, like, toughness. You see them on a lot of people who are in some branch of the military, and very traditional, old-school style tattooing. And I knew I wasn't going to get very many pieces that were traditional, so I decided to go that route with the first, just because I don't know, I wanted to have some kind of impact on, or at least not an impact, but I wanted my tattoos to have an impact on people who saw them, and to kind of know, like, wow, this girl's different. She's not thinking about things in the same way that, you know, most people who get tattoos are. So, and then also because I don't even know, like I was saying at the beginning of this, I don't think that nautical stars should be on anyone who's not actually using them for, you know, good luck on some kind of seafaring adventure. So I don't know. I don't own any brass knuckles, and I wouldn't really say that I'm going to own any anytime soon, but I'm fairly confrontational. Like, when I get upset, I'll be the first person that will, you know, start yelling or arguing, and not because I feel like those are, you know, necessarily, like, the right ways to handle situations, but sometimes you do have to be aggressive, and I'm not afraid to be, so, let's see. Then this guy, which is an hourglass that I got on the episode of Ink Masters that I was on that aired in March. So shouts out to all of you who have actually seen the episode and like it. I still haven't seen it, and I feel really bad about it, but I literally, like, I have this gigantic TV behind me. I don't watch it ever. Unless I'm, like, entertaining guests or something, or, like, just super bored or procrastinating very hard on homework, which actually this video is helping me do excellently, so thanks, guys. But yeah, I got this as kind of like a second part of the memorial tattoo that's on the other side of me. And just a reminder that time is precious, and it is always against us, and I don't see a need to stop living life the way that I want to, and that makes me happy, just for the fact that you never know what could happen and what will be taken away from you at any time. So, I don't even know. That's all I can really say about it. I talked to the artist very briefly before we had the tattoo challenge happen, and he was gung-ho for it, and I originally had wanted it in color, but he talked me out of it, and I think black and gray is definitely like the better option. It turned out really well, so maybe one day I'll be able to get it touched up by him, but yep. Oh, and of course, Donnie Darko Bunny. So Frank is my favorite character from Donnie Darko. And as far as like a reading into the film, I'm not going to go too deeply into it, but I think his symbolism can be taken either in a very religious way, or it can be taken secularly as a form of conscience for Donnie. And so I don't know, I think it's really interesting how many interpretations of the movie as a whole have sprung. Maybe one day I'll actually like write my own, but for now I just I really enjoyed him as a character, and just, I don't even know, rabbits have always been a really like cool animal to me. I've never owned one. I've always wanted to, but I travel too much and do too many things that would be terrible if I tried to own any pet that actually required attention. So I've never gotten around to one, but maybe one day in the future I'll be able to do that. And also because some guy told me that I should never get my legs tattooed, and I think more than anything I got something that's considered so gruesome because I kind of wanted to be like, fuck you. Like, number one, it's my body, and number two, if I choose to get my legs tattooed, it has nothing really to do with anyone else. And I think that a lot of people don't understand that tattoos usually emphasize a certain part of your body and help to showcase the beauty that's already in the form of it. So, and at least with like a huge, part of your body like your legs, having tattoos there really will just, emphasize the shape and the curves and everything. And also, I don't know, I was like, I don't think I'll ever want to have a partner of any, gender that doesn't believe that a woman's body is beautiful with tattoos, especially something that is gruesome. I think it's kind of like, if you can look past necessarily the outward appearance of someone, then, really what you're looking into is what you should be seeing, and that's their heart and their soul and their passions and the things that are really more important. And, yeah, so right now, that's all of my tattoos. Plans in the future, definitely going to involve more, but right now, very much a broke college student, so I'm not really trying to do anything else. But thanks everyone who's been so adamant about getting me to post something about, all of my work at once. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this and I'm not just super weird. And sorry that I'm so sick and that my voice sounds like shit. But I hope your day is going really well. I'm going to go do some homework. So, and you're probably wondering why I have one, ear weight in right now. It's because the other one just broke on me. So I'm really sad. And this is me probably in mourning. But, so yeah. Oh, by the way, if anyone was wondering what I'm listening to, it's Portugal.The Man, which is a really good band. I've never seen them live. I really want to. So, yeah. Alright. I guess I'll be around if anyone has follow-up questions or anything. You can send them to my inbox or tweet them to me. Alright. Bye.